Right. Well, first of all, thank you, Donna, for joining me for a little testimonial video. I really appreciate your time. Kind of to get us started, and why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of what projects you have worked on in the past and maybe what you're working on now?
Sure. So my name is Donna Weaver, and I've been a serial entrepreneur since I was in grade school when my dad told me I could have anything I wanted if I worked hard for it. So I started my first business to go to college, a caramel popcorn business, and grew that and sold it. And then through college, I bought fixer-upper houses with no money and started creating businesses until I fell off a roof of a house. And then I decided to retire to corporate America, where I had interviewed for a big position with American Express, an executive position that I wasn't qualified for. But the entrepreneurial skills taught me a lot about business in general. So I got the job and worked as an executive with Amex for many years around the globe. And while I was working with their Fortune 500 companies, I thought that I invented a global e-invoicing concept. Left Amex with some other MasterCard, Visa, Amex guys in London. Started a company there, went IPO in 2013, and now I'm a co-founder in a data company. So, everything from small businesses to global business, it's been quite an adventure, full of
Yep.
passion.
So first of all, we've been working together for like 5 months now, and I didn't know that you fell off a house, which I think is totally different story. We don't have to focus on that right now, but I
Yeah.
think that what I've always gotten from you from the beginning is, whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, like you're always creating something. You definitely have kind of that founder spirit. So,
Yes, for
um,
sure.
we were introduced by a mutual friend, and our first conversation, we were sort of trying to figure out whether you needed help in the business from a consulting perspective, or whether you wanted to have more of a coaching perspective. So I'm curious, why you chose coaching over consulting.
Anybody listening to this video, if you're an entrepreneur, I can tell we need help in so many different ways. If it's because you have to wear many hats, you're doing the finances and accounting, trying not to run out of cash, all the way to trying to market your business and grow it and everything in between. And I was introduced to GV because we grew our business to about 12 million at the time, and we were just stuck. And I realized that we had grown it to that level without any marketing. We were laughed at about our website, and but we were profitable and driving revenue. And GV was introduced to me as someone that might be able to help me with data and technology marketing. And it's really funny, the story. We get on the phone on a Sunday. He was generous enough to make time for me on a Sunday when I could clear my mind. And you know, about 3 years ago, I adopted a boy from Colombia. And I know a lot of my entrepreneur friends, they have families. Me, I was always afraid to get married, and I've been living the entrepreneurial dream and with love and passion of my family and friends. Um, but I adopted this boy, and I thought everything was going great. I was passionate about my work and loving him. And I got on the phone with GV, and he had this most unique way of asking me. He was just asking me some general questions about the business and about myself. And somehow he asked me a question about my son, and I didn't even realize that I said it, but he told me that, did you notice that you said your relation when you described your relationship with your son, that you said you have a good working relationship? To be honest with you guys, I started crying. I couldn't believe it. And I think I sobbed to GV for maybe 4 hours. And I said, oh my gosh, the business is the business. But I thought to myself, one thing with all the emotional up and downs in entrepreneurial land is that our life is still passing by. At the same time, we're caught up in our business. And I really opened my eyes. He helped me he didn't say that to me, but what he showed me was I thought I had this perfectly balanced life. So I can imagine a lot of entrepreneurs, you think you're juggling your family and your work, but as an entrepreneur, that stuff is inside of us. We're so obsessed with all of it at times that we don't realize that we're disconnected with the love and connection with our family. And for me, I recognized that, and I had never felt anything like that before. And, after I was done crying, I said, you know what? I want to talk to you about the business because I find it fascinating that you actually are so well versed and experienced on the business side. But really, what I need is both. I have the business, but GV, you were the only person I ever met that I've worked with a lot of coaches. I love working with coaches, but what was very unique that I've never experienced before in one person was that they could really touch upon your personal life and your business life to bring that together because each day is your life. So that's why I had to work with you. And I put the love and connection first. I realized I might need to do a little bit of reprioritizing.
And I appreciate the way that you frame that, because we call it eight, or I call it 80-20 coaching. I run 80-20 coaching. I run 80-20 mastermind groups, and the 80% is, the amount of time we spend on the business. The 20% is the amount of time we spend on personal. And as we well know, sometimes that flips in a session. Sometimes we're working on the business in a session. Sometimes we're working on personal in a session.
Right.
Um, how is that connected for you? Like, how have you found that those two things are really intertwined, and what is the benefit that you've gotten by having somebody that can sort of speak both languages?
It's funny in business, normally I've been worked around all men and I was raised by my father, so I never think anything of it. And so I know it's possible when a woman's talking about, oh, you have your love and your connection and your business side. I've always been just wild about business. And I can tell you for a man or a woman, it doesn't matter who, when you start understanding what's going on inside yourself, it's about you as a person. It's really not, when you talk to GV, it's not just about your business or your personal life. It's not a therapist or a coach where you're just complaining on the phone, complaining to him about business stuff or family. It's about you. Like, how are you doing? And what's on your mind this week? What are you feeling? And if it's a business topic, he takes you inside yourself to find kind of like a root cause. And then you together walk through it and understand it. It's probably the most incredible experience I've ever had working with anybody. And I tell him all the time how much I appreciate having him in my life. Your business starts growing and accelerating. You feel good in the business, and then you also feel good because you start out feeling good inside, and then anything you touch or anything you're doing is more positive and more successful. Your relationships, both in and outside of your business, your attitude, because you seem to be able to work with a person from the inside out. And as they always say, it all starts from within you. But I've never really been able to put that two and two together like I can with the conversations that we have. So everything is just so much brighter and better, since I've been working with you.
I think that we've been trying to figure out this concept of work-life balance since the late 1800s, and I think that it's sort of bullshit. We don't have a work life and a personal life. We have one life to live, and we need to integrate all of the aspects of that. I think that when something happens in our personal life and people say, well, just check that at the door and, get your work done, we can't do that. I also think that, we go into work and we deal with challenging situations and we put the shit shield on, and, sometimes we forget to take that off before we get home, and we bring all of that stuff and all of that armor back into the house with us, and it just doesn't work that way.
You can describe your coaching, you can describe everything about it, but I really can 100% with high level of passion and sincerity, tell anybody listening that you will never be able to understand it for how he communicates it and describes it, because a person can't describe a multidimensional thing speaking any sentence. You can talk about it, but I can just tell you that from working with GV that I am, I'm on fire. I mean, I've created some new business global models. There are no problems. I talk to him on a weekly basis. And the way he's able to go back in time to find something with you, but also take it into the present moment. This isn't, it's not like a long-term diet where you got to wait months to, lose the weight. I mean, you can really, in our 1 hour, like I'm back in action after I talk to him. And again, I guess I can't even communicate well enough to tell you how different it is to have someone that can go inside of you, help you go inside of yourself, that just by asking questions, because he is the best listener that you will ever meet. I don't know how he does it, but he takes copious notes, or I don't know, I can't tell what he's doing, but he can regurgitate what you say back to you to give you a perspective like no one else you've ever met. And I'm sure many of you, like myself as entrepreneurs, we're not the best listeners all the time. And so when you have somebody really designated to you and listening to you, who understands business and, spiritual, personal, he's just got many different skills inside of his mind that he gives to us to help us take our person to the next level.
You talked about a couple of global business models. Are there any major wins or shifts or results that you want to share with folks?
Well, when I started working with GV, I'm in a partnership right now. And if any of you listening to this have partners, you know that it gets a little crazy. And it's been really an emotional drain for a few years now. And working with GV, I've really been able to see, again, help me see inside myself what it was I need. Because, we don't like to let go of things. That's our baby, for anybody. And, as part of the process of being able to let go and get back to like what's true inside me, we live once. And when we look back, at least for me, I don't want to look at myself and look back with regret that I was sitting here just trying to live through an environment where I wasn't happy and all I could be. And so an example would be, the student loan crisis in America. Fully designed a beautiful app for that, for the government. I've built also another model for, the debt crisis around the globe, and especially with COVID. It's designed, and it's just like maybe my best work of art. And I thought that my current company was, my nirvana. And from working with you, I just tapped into, I don't know, I just tapped into something that I just feel like this phase 2 of my life is going to just be magical. I mean, I'm really excited about the solutions, and I owe that to you, really, because you helped me find my creative self again.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that, as we have explored the next phase in your life, the next chapter that you are opening up right now is going to be absolutely incredible. So I know that you've worked with other coaches and consultants in the past. Is there anything different that you could say between working with them and working with me?
I think I've always been open-minded to different coaches and whatnot. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs that just gets caught in the mesh, because, you want to be growing as a person and you need help and someone to talk to. And you typically have, what I've seen in the past and what I've experienced with all the coaches I've worked with a lot, is that they're usually focused on just the business, right? Or because you need somebody to help you navigate there, or they're like a personal coach, like a therapist almost, where you have conversation. And so why, you're so different. And like I said earlier, it's hard to put into words. but you have this multi-dimensional ability. You have a multi-dimensional ability to go inside and help me go inside myself to find root causes, which are from the past potentially. So whatever's happening in the present triggers somewhere from the past typically, and just the ability to tie that past to the present. So a lot of times when you look into yourself and you go to your past, you're talking months to figure out, how the hell to navigate through that. But somehow you're able to do it very quickly where, the entrepreneur, the business owner can go inside themselves, see where it came from, but you're able to bring it into the present moment so you can make progress in that present moment. And entrepreneurs, we're usually kind of impatient and we just want to kind of get to it. We get a lot of, stress hits us. We think the world's falling, then we're on a high, then we're on a low. But, being able to balance on the call with you, I come in hot and crazy, or I come in whatever's going on, but you're always able to take it to find the root cause or get around that and bring it to the present. So I feel like I made so much progress every time I talk to you. And I feel like, okay, I got it. And so I can kind of get on with it. So that's probably the biggest difference. I think life is too short and we have too much opportunity in this world to not invest on someone to work with us that can help us from the inside out. I know we get stubborn and we get too busy and we don't make time for ourselves and we're running around putting out fires. I think that's all bullshit. I think that when we're on our deathbed, we're going to look back and have great regrets. If we looked back and saw how we run our life. And I think if you're on the fence about coaching, what I would tell you is you just need to try it. It's the highest of high for an entrepreneur. It's the highest of high for a business owner. And it's much more fulfilling when you're working on yourself as a person on both sides of your life and for yourself. So if they're on the fence, I would say, like, I'm sad for you because you're probably going to have regret on your deathbed. And if I was in your business, I'd probably kick your ass because, I'm working from the inside out. So, have a little fun with it and be good to yourself. And remember, again, whatever's happening in our business, our life is still passing by. And we as entrepreneurs, we want to take everything we can out of this life because that's how we're built. So I hope you'll get off the fence. Because it takes a lot of courage that a lot of people don't have, I've learned, to start a business from nothing or to create something new. We're a unique breed. And I feel like you've helped me take it to the next level. And I didn't even think that, I thought I was already flying pretty high, but I wasn't even scratching the surface.
Well, thanks so much for taking a little time today and sharing your wisdom, and I'll look forward to chatting with you next week.
All right. Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.